could grab their MPB-2015 book, that would be great.
We ready to go?
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody, then I'm going to start in a minute. Okay, good morning, everybody. Please have the new MPB-2015 price book handy. I am going to flip through pages on my screen, but I think the last time some of the screens were freezing, so please have your book handy. If you're having any technical issues during the webinar, please email Ben John. Email is bjohn@myfab.com. Again, that's bjohn@myfab.com. Ben will assist or attempt to assist you in any issues you may have during the webinar. Okay, let's look at pages number 2 and 3 in the new book. We've had this model number index in the past, but I think it's worth mentioning again. What you have on pages 2 and 3 are every MyFab model number and the page number that they are on. For example, let's look at cleanouts. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And if you're looking at the C1100-R, the second model of the cleanout section, it's on page 168. So for representatives fairly new to MyFab, this is a great tool, because when a customer says, well, I need information on the R1200 or the F1100, whatever, you can get the model numbers quickly and the page numbers from these two pages 2 and 3. It can save you a lot of time going through the book. Also on page 3, on the right-hand side, you see that we have a list of all of the various standards that the MyFab products are tested and certified to. I find that this is a good page to show engineers, because a number of engineers might ask, what standards are your drainage products or water ham arresters and so on tested to, and it's all listed here on page 3. Pages 4 through 11 remain the same as before. It's a pictorial index. No real changes there. The next change is page 1819. What we've done here on 1819, especially on page 19, is we added more bodies to the book. So at the bottom of page 19, there's the A8 body. We never had that dimensioned out on its own before. Above that, there's the A5 body. We use the A5 body with the R1220 roof drains. And then we have, I think we had the A4 body in there before, but certainly the A5 and the A8 we've added to the body heights. And we've made the body height page area 2 pages long now. It used to be 1 page. So now we're 1819 with all of our various bodies. I'm just skipping through the book to highlight what's new. Let's look at page 31. 31 is not new, but it's worth mentioning. 31 is a good explanation of how to build MyFab model numbers and how they're built in the system. So the C comes before M, not vice versa, and so on. This is all self-explanatory. Good reading on a Friday night after work there. Let's go through to the next. This is worth mentioning too. Look at page 47, bottom of page 47. We have the spacer ring. And the spacer ring, a lot of you know about this, but some of you may not. The spacer ring there, you can see it, is used between the grate, the 5-inch round or the 6-inch round nickel or stainless grate, and the shank. So we would remove the existing grate from the shank. The spacer ring would go into the shank. There's a ridge on the underside of the spacer ring that fits into the recess ridge of the shank, or ledge of the shank, and then the grate goes into the top of the spacer ring. And we can stack the spacer rings. We can go as many high as the customer would want. And on the left-hand side, you can see we have the various hardware and the lengths, or the hardware number you need with the different number of rings, so we can get the hardware to tie back into the shank. This is something that we're selling quite well, and more contractors, when they see that, say, wow, that's a really nice thing to have. It gets us out of trouble. Page 48 at the top. We had this last year, but again, it's worth mentioning. Look at the picture of the F1120 body in the parts section. We now have a nice picture of the 2-inch body is illustrated there on the right. On the left, that's what the 3-inch and 4-inch body looks like. But the 2-inch is much more compact. In fact, we have one of the most compact, shallowest integral trap bodies there is in the market. And how compact is that? If you look at body height on a 2-inch pipe size, we are down to 5 3/16 overall height on that 2-inch integral trap body. Page 51, we have changed the offering of the F1210C. There you go. You see a picture of it. We've gone from the wider flange and the wider clamp ring to the narrower one. Approximately 5 inches would be the outside diameter of the body and the flange. It used to be about 6 or 7 before. The top remains the same at 4 1/8. You see a better picture of the body on the left, the body only. We offer this body now only with threaded connections. We found that was what we were selling the most of. So we no longer offer push-on, caulk, no hub. We do still have some no hub kicking around here, but going forward, we're only offering that little drain with a threaded connection. Let's look at page 56. This is not new, but it's new to some people. This is our shallow sump area drain. This is why we added the A8 body to the body section. Increasingly, contractors are saying to us that they prefer to have area drains in a shallower profile because they're in a parking deck, they're in an area where there's not a lot of vertical space. So the A8 body is shallower than the A2 body. It's not as high. You can look at the cross-section detail on the right, and you'll see that the height of a no hub, for example, A8 body is 4 1/8, and then the collar, the fixed collar, non-adjustable, the fixed collar that goes with this drain is only 1 1/8 high, and it takes the same F1340 PG4 grate that would go into your F1340 TA4. Overall height on a no hub, we're down to 5 1/4, as shallow as it gets. You compare that to an F1340, this is about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches less. So our sales on this and the square version of this is going up quite significantly because more and more contractors are looking for this shallow depth. I'll go to page 63, and on 63 you can see, there we go, there's an image of the square version of this shallow drain. And again, you can see it's using the A8 body, not the A2 body. Let's look at page 79. We've added some new product on page 79. It is the floor drain stabilization plate product. There's a picture of it there, and we call this the F1900. The idea here is the contractor wants a fabricated steel plate, which is what we're showing on the right. We make this in our factory here at Campflex at MyFab, and then there are holes in the plate so that studs, hardware studs, can go up from the plate and push the body, the A1 body in this case, up to whatever height they want. The reason they do this is they want that body to be fixed and stable. And then they would make the pipe connection through the hole at the top of the base you see on the right, and then up to the A1 body. Underneath that, on page 79, we have the same thing, but with a flange. And the reason for the flange is the installer might say, well, you know, this plate is great, but I want flanges on the side of it to anchor it into the ground or to my flooring system. And that's also for the A1 body. On the next page, on page 80, at the top, there's a ring for the A2 body. So we can make this not a ring, but a stabilizing plate. We can make the same thing for the A2 body. These numbers are now in AccountMate. We don't stock this product right now because of the sales don't justify it, but we will make it on demand. Page 81 and 82 are Podium Drains. We've always had a separate flyer for Podium Drains, but we decided to put this into the book because of the application. The concept here is any job, typically a multi-family, multi-use building, condo, apartment building, where you have a patio off the 10th floor or 5th floor or whatever, and on this patio there could be a grass landscaped area, could be a pet relief area where people are using this outdoor space. And architects and engineers are concerned about water drainage capability. So when it rains, they want to ensure that the water, as it soaks through that ground, can get to the drain and drain away. So the main difference with these Podium Drains, I'll blow this up, is the ring. We've made a specialty ring. We call it the A1C1 POD. This ring is like think of the A1C1 clamp ring, except imagine that there are 3 steps about 3/4 of an inch high on top of or underneath the A1C1. So it raises the A1C1 up 3/4 of an inch. That means there's a 3/4 of an inch gap from the underside of the A1C1 ring to the top of the A1 body. And that gap is typically the height of drain board that is used in these types of applications on top of the body. That gap also allows enough free area for water to drain through all that dirt and grass and substrate and get down the drain. So because we have a modular system, you'll see in this detail here at the top of page 82 that we can take our A1 body at the bottom, then we have our A1C1 POD elevated ring, then we take another, what is an A1 body, but it has a 4-inch male thread. It's actually an A1C2 ring, and it threads into the A1C2 ring, and then on top of that you could put PVC ABS pipe, you could perforate the pipe and put a strainer, no-hub banded, with a MyFab coupling at the top. So lots of flexibility. When we show this to again, engineers that are doing multifamily, it gets a lot of attention. Contractors that are doing multifamily, that's where the interest typically is. Okay, we do have a typo in the book. Page 86. At the bottom of page 86 for the T1350. The -4, the ductile iron price, is in the book at $2,166 list per 12-inch section, and the stainless steel is in there at $1,383. Those are inverted. So the -3 price should be $2,166. The -4 price should be $1,383. The AccountMate and quick order system reflects the correct pricing. Unfortunately, we have it inverted in the book. In the floor sink section, we have added stabilization plates or stabilizing plates as well. Look at page 111 at the bottom. Page 111 Here we go. Page 111, you see it's a square stabilizing plate. Same concept as with the A1 body. The contractor would fix that plate to the ground, use hardware to elevate the sink off the plate to get to the desired height and to hold that sink in a fixed position. We have it for 8x8 and 12x12 sinks there. And then on the next page, on page 112, this is something interesting. These are stainless steel floor sink liners. The concept here is we fabricate a 304 stainless steel insert that would go inside of an existing white porcelain enamel floor sink. It could be a MyFab sink. It could be any other brand of sink. We're fairly uniform in dimensions. We have these 8x8x6, 12x12x6, 12x12x8, 12x12x10. You can see that on page 112. The reason why this would be needed is a health inspector goes into an existing restaurant, notices that the porcelain sink is chipped and is starting to rust, and bacteria can accumulate, and they say, you know what, that's not acceptable, rip out that sink, put a new one in. So the cost of doing that is much greater than buying a stainless steel floor sink liner that would, you can see the gasket at the bottom of it, you just shove it into the top of the existing sink. The stainless steel flange that we fabricated will go over the porcelain flange, and then we give you a stainless steel grate to finish it off. In the roof drain section, let's look at page 119. At the bottom of 119, what we've done here is we've illustrated for the first time what some of our customers are doing with an A2BP and an A2 body. In this case, you can see on the left-hand picture, the A2 bearing pan is upside down. It's inverted. So rather than the recess down where it should be to receive the A2 body, we're elevating the A2 body off the pan. And because we're doing that, we need to use the A368 deck clamp, the DC ring, that goes on top of the upside down A2 bearing pan. Then on the right-hand side, you can see that the HS20 brackets that come with every A2 bearing pan, standard in that pizza box, those are used with hardware to bolt the A2BP to the underside of the A368 DC ring. All of this can be done on the ground, and the idea is to set the body height to whatever the insulation thickness is. So rather than being on the roof, sometimes in inclement conditions, messing around getting the right height, this can be done in the shop, this could be done at MyFab, this could be done in the ground to get the A2 body to a fixed position that they may want in order to get the insulation thickness. This is something that when we show this, a lot of contractors seem to really appreciate. Page 154 in the roof drain section. So what we have here, the R1810 on the left, we've always had that. That is a universal membrane clamp and dome receiver ring. The function of this ring is for those that have an existing Zurn, Smith, Wade, Josem body, roof drain body, and they don't want to rip it out of the roof, but the clamp ring that came with that body has broken or deteriorated, then you can remove the ring from the other guys, put our ring on. You see all those little notches and grooves in the ring. That is so that it'll fit on any of our competitors' roof drain bodies. And then our A2 plastic dome would go on top of the ring. So the roofing supply people, the contractors that do a lot of roofing work, would really appreciate this ring. On the right is something new. This is the R1820. This is the A2 C3-W ring with a 4-inch thread in the center of it, and the A2MD. And we added this because some of our competitors offer a flat deck roof drain, no body. So in this case, we would bolt the A2C3-W ring to the deck, screw a 4-inch pipe underneath to fit into the ring, and away you go. We also offer the A2C3-W6, where that thread in the center would be 6 inches instead of 4 if a greater flow rate is required. Let's look at page 157. This is something I think is worth highlighting here. This is the R1940SJ. A number of people have asked us about the GON downspout nozzle. The GON nozzle has a PVC insert in the back of it. So PVC pipe sockets into the back of the GON nozzle, and away you go. We have accomplished the same installation effect, and we've done that by machining out the threads in the back of the R1940 downspout nozzles, either in nickel or stainless. So rather than the female threads in the back of the 1940, we've machined them out. You can see the top left corner how smooth the inside of the back of that 1940 SJ is. There you go. There's a good picture of it in the left corner. And then what we do, or what the contractor would do, is push into the back of that. You can see there's a pipe stop in the back of that, either PVC, ABS, or iron pipe. And then there's screws. You can see the screws on the outside of the flange, and those screws will grip the pipe. And that's how we would secure the pipe to the 1940 SJ. It's not a socket connection. I believe that's a patented art, but we do have this alternative which will work in the same function. Let's look at page 159. On 159, we've added a whole series of green drains. This goes all the way from 159 to 164. What we've seen over the last couple of years is more and more engineers are specifying green, so-called green drains, which are typically used in the same places as the podium drains are used. Multi-use buildings, promenade decks, and most of them have some version of a ballast guard where we're raising the top of the drain up to grade, the body is below, and there's a perforated ballast guard in between. And then some of them have side inlet connections. You can see on page 160, we're using the A8 body with basically a ballast guard around the dome. The one below that on 160's got an auxiliary side inlet. You can see that there. And then on page 163, we get into some interesting designs where you have the roof drain at the top, you have one at the bottom, you've got pipe going between the two of them. So we thought we've been getting so many requests to do drawings on these. We thought we would put them in the book. So there you go. They're there. In the cleanout section, there has been no real change in design in cleanout. So let's look at interceptors, pages 190, 191. Exciting stuff here. We added the Big Macs interceptors on page 190 along with the Little Macs. There's no pricing here. This is just to show people that we have both plastic interceptors. So good news on the small plastic. We now have 4 of the 8 sizes. We have the 10-gallon, the 15, the 25, and the 35 have all passed PDI, ASME, and CSA. We're in the process of getting the MyAtmo listed. The 20-gallon GPM is on the test bench now. We're hoping for good news late next week. We are in production on the small plastic interceptors right now on those 4 models. We will start having them available for shipment from Lighthouse. Lighthouse is making these for us middle to end of March. And some reps have indicated to us they would like to start selling what we have available, the sizes. Other reps have said no. We want to wait till all 8 are available. We get it both perspectives, but we will put an announcement out once these are ready to ship from Lighthouse, not from MyFab in Chicago, but from Lighthouse to you, so that we can start getting into this market. The Big Macs is selling more and more all the time. Contractors really like this extension lid system. It's 18-inch diameter ADS pipe, and the benefit to the contractor, there we go. The benefit to the contractor is if the distance from the middle of the inlet-outlet pipe to the top is not what they need, then they can either cut this ADS pipe down to get the desired height, or they can order an extension from MyFab, or if they don't want to wait, from their local waterworks supply house, they could buy a piece of 18-inch diameter corrugated plastic ADS pipe, cut to the size they want, push it in like a push-on system, and get to the desired height of their rough-in. Page 192 has some good features and benefits of the Big Macs, and page 193 has good details on the Little Macs, and there's our size ranges there. You can see 7 through 50 and the 25-gallon low profile. So again, we've got 4 sizes now: the 10, the 15, the 25, the 35 are in production. 20 is being tested now. Next to be tested will be the 50. After that will be the 25 low profile, and then the 7. Our hope is that the remaining 4 sizes have been tested and are in production by the end of April. Okay, let's go to the next. Page 194-95 is a good blowout of the Big Macs and some of the features. We are making external sampling ports for the Big Macs. We see that in the top right corner of page 194. Page number 206. We've changed the design of the XL MIG Interceptor. We now have there you go, there's a picture. On the inside, we went away from the fabricated steel deep seal trap and baffle system, and we went to a molded plastic bulkhead fitting that is both on the inlet and the outlet, and then we have PVC pipe glued into that goes down to form the deep seal trap. The reason we did this was to provide a longer life and not have as much corrosion affect the steel deep seal trap. Once that trap corrodes, you get holes in it, then the grease can go right through. So with plastic, we're figuring that we'll get a longer life performance out of the internals of that product. In the carrier section, something that's exciting, page 230, 230. What we have on 230 is the shift and lift. And for those of you that haven't heard about this will really win you some friends at the contractor level. The shift and lift is an offset nipple and hardware stud kit, and it's in 3 different dimensions of offset: 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or 1 inch. The idea is typically the handicapped or ADA toilet is at the end of the battery. When you go into a bathroom, the bigger stalls are usually at the end, the handicapped. And most codes say that the dimension from the center of that toilet to the outside wall must be 18 inches or a sufficient dimension to allow the person to get on and off the toilet. In some cases, the contractors install the toilet too close to the wall. Maybe the drywall contractor made a mistake. Maybe there's been tile that's put on the wall after the fact that's affected that dimension. In any event, it's a problem. And the only way to solve that problem prior to this was for the contractor to remove the toilet, cut into the wall, physically uproot the bolts that hold the legs of the carrier to the ground and move it a little bit one way or the other to satisfy the inspector's requirement to have the right dimension from the finish wall to the center of the toilet. So the better solution is with shift and lift, simply remove the existing toilet, remove the existing nipple and 4 studs, throw them away, not the toilet, keep the toilet, put in the shift and lift, which is offset, and now you can shift the toilet either half, 3/4, 1 inch to the left or to the right. Because as you spin the nipple, you get that, because of its design, you get the offset, and the studs mirror the nipple. The other advantage to this is we can lift the toilet. If the toilet is too low, sometimes ADA toilets are set like others too low. They need to be X dimension rim height to the ground. Then we can lift it up either half, 3/4, or 1. And there's our 3 different part numbers there at the top of the screen. Other interesting news with this is that our shift and lift will work with Zurn, Smith, Wade, Josam, Watts carriers. So that's a nice feature to offer contractors. The next page, 231, has got a good features and benefits sheet on our water closet carriers. We've added this. Didn't have that one in there before. In the hydrant section, we've added page 275. We've added the rectangular hydrant box. And we've done that because we're getting some requests, there you go, for a rectangular shaped hydrant box to fit into a brick slot area. So we fabricate that here in Chicago out of stainless steel. Above that, on page 275, look at the top right corner. We've been making this for a little while. This is a fabricated stainless steel hydrant box with a round back. The round back is interesting for those that are working with tilt-up buildings, because they can core a hole into the wall and shove this round-backed hydrant box into that hole. In the trap primer section, let's go to page 293. Top of 293, MI100. We have changed the solenoid valve within the MI100 to be stainless steel. And you can see in the description, the written copy, it says stainless steel electronic solenoid valve, but it's still pointing to the plastic valve that we used to have with the old design. The next time we print this book, we'll replace that photo with a photo of the MI100 with the stainless steel valve. The stainless steel solenoid valve just gives us better performance. In low flow situations, high flow situations, it can handle the stress of the incoming water better. It performs a lot better. So that's an improvement, not only on the MI100, but also on the 200. We have the new TSP 2015 book at the printer right now. That's our trap primer booklet, where the prices for the MI100, 200, 300 are. We've just added the MI300- battery pack, and we offer the battery pack on the 200 as well. Thanks to the folks at Spec Sales for bringing this opportunity to us. And we've done that because in some areas, think of a state park, and there's a restroom in the state park in the middle of the woods. Power is not readily available. We can put an MI300 in there to serve the men's and the ladies, and have it powered by a battery pack to make sure that water is replenishing the floor drain traps. Let's look at pages 296, 297. This is the MyGuard. We have the MyGuard in the TSP book, but we thought we'd showcase it in the MPB book as well. No pricing, just to show people that it's there and what it does. And on page 297, we've added a nice picture at the bottom of the MyGuard display. Another neat feature of this book is just before the cross-reference section, or just after the cross-reference section. Look at page number 351. 351 is a summary of all of the various MyFab suffixes. And we added that, there you go. So, and in some cases, we have two. For example, look at -3. So -3 we have as a stainless steel for drains, and we have it as rear anchor support for carriers. But every suffix that we have is listed on pages 351, 352. Just prior to that is the cross-reference section. We have cross-references to all of our main drain competitors, and just prior to that is the part section, where all of the common A1 bodies, A2 bodies, the rings, the clamps, the dome receivers are illustrated there. Page 352 at the bottom is a good picture of our Seaport display. Again, the MyGuard display on the right. Page 353 is new. This is a great load classification chart, both in ANSI, which is typically U.S. standards, and DIN, European standards at the bottom. Explains what light duty, medium duty, heavy duty, and the other load classifications are with a good description. This can come in handy when trying to figure out what loads are needed. And then finally, page 354, we have a nice illustration of all of the various price books available from MyFab. The most recent is the bottom right corner, that Philco 10 book with that beautiful reindeer. That's our new fiber reinforced concrete trench drain. That is selling very, very well. We've come out with a new book just on that. Previously, the product was in the black TD2014 book, but we now have a separate book on the fiber reinforced concrete. And then here again, you get a good visual on page 354 of all the various price books that we have. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to open it up for questions. Just give me a moment to get organized to be able to take questions. Give me 1 second, please. Oh, here we go.
On the beach.
Okay, so now I think we're going to hear everybody. Let's see if we can try to do this. Who's got a question?
Michael, Steve at Climb &
Yes.
Sales.
Go ahead.
How are you today? Hey, just
Very
a quick
good, sir.
question. Quick question on the part in the back of the book. Is there a reason why you left out the F1300 and the F1320s?
Yeah, that is my mistake. That is a typo.
Okay.
There's a duplication of page 307 and 309.
Okay.
And one of those pages should have been all of the area drain top assemblies.
Okay.
I think we. Yeah, if you download the PDF version of the MPB book from our website behind the literature section, you will see the correct area drain top assembly listing.
Okay, no problem.
Any other questions?
That's where you eat. Oh, yeah. That's what it does.
Any other questions out there?
Michael, Mark Campbell,
Yes.
Spec Sales.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you? Hey, on
Doing
the
well, sir.
trap primers, the M100s, 200s, and 300s, I see
Yes.
that Kelly has been emailing you regarding those units about changing over to copper. I know that you have a 2M option, but that's adding $250 to $400 list. Then basically at that point, we're out of price.
So we can make that work, Mark. I suggest you talk to Jay, your regional manager, and say, we have certain customers that need the copper manifold, but there cannot be an adder for it, for example.
Right.
And we can do that. The reason why we have the adder is we don't want people to automatically go to the copper. We want to offer the lead-free plastic, which we think will last longer and is more economical. But where we need to offer the copper, we can do it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Michael,
Yes.
it's Dawn at Quality Water here.
Hi, Don.
Hi, the Big Macs Interceptors, when are those converted to oil?
Say that again. When are they?
When are we going to have the parts to convert them for oil interceptors?
So we can do that now. We haven't done that much, but we can do it. So if you have a need to have an oil interceptor, 75 or 100 gallon, please send in the order to your CSR. Copy Jason, copy myself, and we'll get that made for you. We do have spec sheets of the oil interceptors. Do you have those?
No, we don't.
Okay, I'll email that to you when we're done, and they're going to be online within the Big Macs Interceptor section within a couple of days.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If you're going to do the pre-sleep, I got to ask. Yeah. If you're going to do, let me get to.
Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for your time.
I do have another question. Hey, Michael.
Go ahead.
I have one more
Go ahead,
question.
Mark.
This is Mark. On the MC1027, where can I find a picture with the specs on it from a side shot to show from ground level up? Because I ran into a situation with the not the event, but the auxiliary 2-inch hookup for a urinal that would be backing that up. But there, I don't see a picture that would give me the dimensions. So I need dimensions from a side shot from floor up, so I can see what basically where how high off the ground that auxiliary is.
Okay, you're right. I'm looking at page 235.
So am I.
And we do not call that out. So number one, I'll make a note to add that to the next book.
Okay.
And then what we'll do right now is I'll make a note, Mark, to email you a detail of what that dimension is.
Okay, I'll need that on the D and the 1027D, and also the non-D.
Got it.
Or the MC10D27.
Yeah, I'll do both. So from ground to top of auxiliary inlet.
Right.
Well, I guess that's it'll be a range, right? Because depending on where the fitting is behind the plate, it'll be from X to Y.
Right, exactly.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you for that.
And the other thing is, if it's too high, we can always use that the crossover that you were talking about, the adjustment.
The shift and lift to get the toilet down after. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a great point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good.
Okay. That's it. I don't think I have any other questions.
Anybody else with questions? Okay, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for your time and attention. Look forward to speaking with you again soon.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Bye-bye.